What's up? This is the Ike Inspirations podcast, and I'm on a mission to inspire as many people as I can. And today I have a lovely guest on named Uhhmariii. I'm excited to have Uhhmariii on the platform. Uhhmariii is a rapper from North Carolina that I've had the pleasure of listening to for several years. And so I'm excited to have him on. Uhhmariii, can you do us a favor of introducing yourself to the audience and just speaking about who you are and how you got to where you are?
Hey, how you doing? First of all, thank you for having me on the show. My name is Uhhmariii, and I am an artist from North Carolina. I like to consider myself a lyricist in a sense, student of the game, a learner of my craft. That I like to inspire just like you do. I like to create, and that's my way of inspiring people is by using my words and sharing it with the people and spreading love and trying to create that community and just build with like minds. So I'm just glad to be on the platform today. We can talk music and all
Yeah.
things life.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm excited to just chat, man, talk music, life. So first of all, man, what's your favorite rap song?
Of all time or just,
Yeah, and just in
ooh,
general.
that's hard.
Or if you had, yeah, of all
If I
time.
had to
Yeah,
pick one
yeah. If
though,
you had to pick
okay.
one.
My favorite rap song of all time, if I had to pick one, would probably be Sorry Miss Jackson by
Okay,
Outkast.
by Outkast.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all right.
I
Okay,
just
all
feel
right,
like it
man.
has like all the elements of what a hip hop song is for me. Like I
Okay.
can get everything in that song: lyricism, melodies,
Yeah,
storytelling, the emotion, the
yeah,
feels of losing somebody and trying to get them back, and just all that. The aggression Big Boy brings that might
yeah.
be deemed a little like, but it just gives you all that balance of what hip hop's about. So if I just had to give
Nah.
you one, give me that one.
Yeah, okay. That's a dope
Yeah.
answer, man. I'm sorry, Miss Jackson.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I think Andre, yeah, they bodied it, man. Andre and Big
Yeah.
Boy, yeah. And then who would you say is your favorite rapper, bro?
Favorite rapper? That's a good one. If I had to pick one,
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna go with Nas overall for me.
Mm.
And I know that's hard. Matter of fact, nah, I take that back. Nah, I am a huge fan of Nas. He's in my top five, obviously. But I'm gonna
Okay.
go with DMX. I'm gonna go with
DMX.
DMX. Yep.
Oh,
Yep. I'm gonna go with
okay.
DMX because just like once again, I feel like he embodies just all the elements of what hip hop has to
Yeah,
offer. And his story is honest, it's raw. He always gave himself, whether it was the lows or the highs. And yeah, I think DMX was a lyricist. I think he was good at making music that people can just enjoy on the go. I
yeah.
think that he was good at telling a story on certain records. I think he has classic albums. So if I had to just pick one, DMX. And I
Mm.
was born in Yonkers, so
Oh, so you got
yeah,
that
it's a
connection. Yeah,
connection, right? My
yeah,
mom told me he held me as a baby, so
yeah.
yup. So even that
Well,
was dope.
that's crazy. Man. Yo, bro, rest in
Hmm.
peace to DMX, man.
Yeah,
He
absolutely.
seems like a real one, man. I've always appreciated how blunt and raw he was with his music.
Hmm.
Definitely relatable. I do find myself listening to Nas more, and I always fucked with his King Disease album, King
Yeah, I
Disease.
love that album.
Yeah, and then I feel like Nas used to get flack for not really having like hard beats. Like people said his beats were
Hmm.
trash. Once he linked up with Hit Boy, whew, man,
Forget about it.
I
He
don't
won
think
a
you
second
can say that
run,
anymore. Huh?
right? And I
Yeah.
love that he did that because it showed that hip hop, because hip hop's still young, and we got to that point to where like a lot of the guys who really laid down a foundation that took the genre to the next level are
Yeah.
older now. They're grandfathers. They're businessmen. So Nas showed that look, man, it's cool to be 45 plus and still deliver like
Yeah.
high elite raps and like just tell your story. Show
Yeah.
the younger rappers what it's like being on that side, because y'all the
Yeah.
first ones that are older. So y'all have to show us
Facts.
how it's done. So I'm glad that he's kind of like paving the
Yeah.
lane with that.
Well, him and Jay-Z, bro, like something that's unique about them is like they're pretty much rapping like 40 plus, and as hip
Mm-hmm.
hop, because hip hop is a relatively new genre. We haven't
Right.
really seen that. It's
Right.
usually like a young man game. So to see someone that
Mm-hmm.
old rapping, it's kind of like, okay, what do you still have to
Yep.
offer? That's why I fucked with I love Jay-Z's 444, because I
Mm-hmm.
felt like it was a whole different album of like what it's like to be in your 40s, like successful
Exactly.
family,
Married,
well,
family.
married, like what's
Right.
that like, the ups and downs, like, we
Mm-hmm.
don't get that often. So I thought that
Yep.
was a dope album, boss. So yeah, man. So I want to talk about you, bro, and more of you as like a rapper, man, because I know you've had your ups and downs,
Oh yeah.
and I want to
Absolutely.
hear it all, man. I want to hear your successes. I want to hear your struggles. I want to hear
Oh
your
yeah.
trials and tribulations, because I think that's all part of the journey, and I think it humanizes us all. So,
It does.
what would you say has been some of the biggest difficulties of being a rapper for you?
I would say, if one, I would say like just your visibility and being
Mm,
consistent. Because sometimes you could be working and doing everything in your power to like better yourself and build towards your brand, but you might not be doing the little things enough, like
yeah,
making sure you're on top of your DMs or just posting every day. And so I
yeah,
think a lot of artists, especially the ones who are like love what they do, they like kind of get caught up in that, and that's why it's important that you find that
mm,
balance and you find what, at least what I've been doing is I've been learning to love the process of doing those things,
mm,
like
yeah,
finding like the fun in like talking to people, which I never had an issue with. It's just making sure I don't, take too long or just let them all build up to where now I got 100 plus messages and like, oh, I'm overwhelmed. So
yeah,
it's like just being on top of it and having fun editing videos and posting it and engaging with the people and thanking the people, asking them like what they feel about like certain pieces of content, or just I notice a lot of people that support me, they do content. I go on their page and I pull from other people, believe it or not. And I give
mm-hmm,
flowers. Like I'll personally DM somebody like, yeah, man, this video, I was inspired by what I saw you, what you did. And I'm like,
yeah,
word, bro, appreciate that. So just,
yeah,
just showing that love and having that community in a sense. Cause like, I think sometimes creatives also, we get caught up in just tunnel vision. So we forget
mm,
that there's a million other people that are just like you
yeah,
that can relate to what you do. So
yeah,
sometimes it's good to kind of just reach back and realize that you're not alone when it comes to just creating and being a creative in a space with social media and it just being so fast, and it's a lot of
yeah,
us trying to do it. It's it's saturated, so oversaturated, sorry. So it's just like you got to find your lane and just like I said, fall in love with the processes that help you build those blocks to, like I told my engineer that I work with now, shout out to B Stiggs. I told him, look, bro, we gonna build a brick every day, and one day me and you gonna turn around and I'm
you
like,
got a
hey bro,
house.
that's a nice brick house, bro. You like, hey, that's
Yes,
a nice
sir.
brick house. And
Yes,
there you
sir.
go. So that's just my motto 2025. Like
I
build
love it,
me
man.
a nice pretty brick every day.
Yeah, man. And you mentioned connecting with community, and even just doing this podcast, you're doing that because I've always been a
Right.
fan of your rap, and I'm just grateful we're able to connect, man. And yeah, man, I feel like in this social media era, there's just so much going on. It's kind of hard to feel like you're appreciated, And at least I don't know if you feel like that as a rapper or in general. I feel like so back in the 2000s and 90s, there wasn't so many rappers coming in and out, so I felt like if you were an established rapper, like you had attention, and you knew, like, I felt like you were getting your flowers, like people know who you are. Now, like, there's just rappers everywhere. It's like you said,
Mm-hmm.
oversaturated, and it's kind of hard to tell if you're getting appreciated. And I feel like the way people listen to music now is different. I don't feel like people are
Yeah.
consuming it and really staying with it. It's like, okay, Kendrick just dropped, then this nigga just dropped, and then this dude dropped, and like the weekend just dropped, and
Yep.
all right, now you're just another nigga. You're just another nigga,
Uh-huh.
bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like,
Yep.
all right, So what's that been like for you, kind of navigating all of that?
That's a good question, and
Yeah.
it's funny because I was just talking to one of my homeboys about this. I was saying how I was like not focused on like the statistics of like who's listening to what in terms of what I'm dropping, but more interested in the relationship with the person that is, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
interacting with that piece of content or that
Yeah.
song that I drop. So
Yeah.
that's kind of more like my building block today. Like I'm focused on trying to get 1,000 people that at all given times, if I ask them to do something for me, like, hey bro, can you subscribe to this? Can you do this? They don't mind doing that. That's kind of
Yeah.
where I'm at with it these days. Like,
Yeah.
because I know streaming is just it's a nasty game right now, and it's just a
Yeah.
lot of different things going on. So I'm
Yeah.
focused on building those relationships with people so we can get to a point to where like I'm not gonna say cut the streaming out because it's good to have your music on those platforms so people can constantly discover you and figure out who you are. I look at streaming like ads now in the Super
Mm.
Bowl, just without the paid part. And technically, you do, depending on who your distributor is, you are technically paying to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I look at it like that. I use it as an ad, and I'm focused more on just the relationships. So
Mm.
like talking to people, meeting people, and building with people, and just having friendships, people like you, to where
Yeah.
it's just like because that stands the test of time in my opinion.
Facts.
Like it's not the
Facts.
song that you heard from me in
Facts.
2019. Even if it did touch you, it's appreciated. But I know just that connection me and you had, whether it was
Yeah.
me listening to your song or checking out your podcast or us
Yeah.
just talking about things that we go through that may be similar and or
Yeah.
like it's supporters of mine that I remember when they was in high school and now they're graduating with kids and they're
That's
married. Like
crazy.
right, it's
Yeah.
beautiful to see. Like
Yeah.
I appreciate stuff like that more than your little 2 streams on my song. I appreciate it, but
Yeah.
I rather value me being able to see you grow and us still be able to just talk life. And
Yeah.
if you so happen to just be like, hey man, I actually checked out your last record too, man. That joint was
Yeah.
crazy. Then that's just a bonus to
That's a
me.
bonus. Yeah.
Right.
Man, I love that, man, and I can relate to that too as a podcaster. My podcast doesn't get the most views, and nor do I really care. I genuinely enjoy the
Right. You're
process
doing
of
it for the
connecting
love
with
of the
people.
sport.
Exactly,
Absolutely.
bro. And like for me, it does so much. I'm a lifelong learner. I get to connect with
Mm-hmm.
incredible people, and if someone mentions, oh, yo, like I've been watching your podcast, that's just even greater, man. And you'll be amazed, bro. Like you'll be amazed, like because it's hard to really recognize. It's just a bunch of numbers. You might go on Spotify, you see it, it's 100 listens or 1,000 or whatever, but it's just a bunch of but it's hard to remember that they're really each one of those people are real people. And
Right.
yeah, the person that I actually had on my podcast before you, he was like, yo, man, I love your podcast, man, I'm a big fan, I'm excited to be here. I was like, and it's kind of where I be forgetting people be watching my stuff.
Yeah.
I don't really look at it like that, but people be coming to me saying the same thing, bro.
Yeah,
And I'm
bro.
sure
You
you
have a
had
dope
similar
platform.
moments. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely though. It's like you kind of like I said, it's that tunnel vision. Sometimes we just like you said, when you locked in and you just like, hey, I just love doing it. Sometimes you
Yeah.
forget that you done touched people along the way, and you
Yeah.
gotta just kind of slow down for a second and live in the moment.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get so caught up in the past and the future, we
Future.
forget that the present is most precious.
Yes,
And
sir. Yeah, I love
so,
that. Yeah, you spent and they say the present is a present,
mm-hmm.
and I like that. Like yeah, and I always thought it would be cool to see like the evolution of Ike or the evolution of Uhhmariii, where you just continuously keep growing and growing, not just like your views and whatever your money count, but like just like how you grow in your art, like in the
I
creation and like
appreciate
the
that.
confidence, you know what I'm saying? And I've
Right.
seen that growth in your music too, man. I definitely see you being more consistent. Even like your video marketing is like it's more vibrant, and I feel like that's what I hope to inspire people to do is really enjoy the process more
Enjoy
than
the
the result,
process.
because
Yep.
as a fan of yours, I've been peeping your content and the music, and it's definitely getting better for sure, man. So,
Appreciate it.
yeah, man.
Appreciate
I
it.
I love what you're doing, man, and yeah. So I think you have a dope story, man, and I want to dive into it a little more. I know one time on your Instagram you mentioned like you really love what you're doing, and like and how much you're striving to become a better rapper, and then you talked about like you were even homeless at one point,
Yeah.
and that was interesting to me because I don't think I've seen that level of vulnerability. Do you mind speaking towards that, and how did you get out of that, and what was that
Yeah.
struggle like?
So it's funny because that process was like it was like a whole like building block of things that happened that led up to that. So
Yeah.
like I'll say I'll start back at high school and it even intertwines with my story. And it's funny at my outro on the EP that I'm dropping March 9th,
Word.
I tell the whole story of that too. So it's gonna like you know what I'm saying, it's gonna be
Like, I'll
dope to
come
see
in.
that.
Yeah.
Right. So so in high school I was in a rap group.
Okay.
The rap group was called Collective, and
Collective.
me and about seven other members, we had formed this group junior year,
Okay.
going into 11th grade. So technically, the summer, 10th grade summer, going into 11th grade, and pretty much, we all got together. We wanted to do this hip hop thing. We was writing a lot. We had did a lot of writing together, and we had known each other. Some of us went to middle school together, so it made sense. So we all just kind of like locked in. We started recording because one of our homeboys he had found the mic, so he had got a mic, and we was like, yeah, let's record. We started putting our money together. We found another studio, just recording songs and bouncing ideas off each other. That's how it originally started. So a few months in, we decided to do. I don't know if you're familiar with Kickstarter.
I've heard of it. The
Kickstarter is
platform.
like one of those GoFundMe type of
That's a
things where like you
platform.
can,
Yeah.
yep, it's a platform to where you can set up a project and depending on what it is, people can invest or like want to like invest money in whatever your project is and you could do anything. You could do a movie, video games, anything. So excuse me, let me adjust because this story
Yeah.
give me like
You're getting excited, bro.
yeah, it gave me
That's cool.
right. So So yeah, so we do his Kickstarter. Shout out to Mr. Sweeper. He was a technology teacher of mine that he
Yeah.
just was always that involved teacher that was like he paid attention to like the black kids who he
For
saw
sure.
like
Oh yeah.
wasn't trying to be in trouble, but he didn't want us to go down the wrong path. So he
Shout out
just
to
was
them teachers,
yeah,
bro.
shout out to Mr. Sweeper, man.
Yeah.
He just always put us on game. He was a huge hip hop head. He was a fan of the few songs that we actually had recorded too, giving us advice. Me and him was Walking Dead nerds. We would just talk Walking Dead and like Marvel stuff like all day, anime
Yeah.
stuff. So it was cool. Shout out to Mr. Sweeper. I hope he's doing good. But so he helped us set up this Kickstarter, and we wanted $5,000 to make a
Wow.
mixtape, and we was just curious. We was like, we
Yeah.
don't know if it'll happen. We just
Yeah.
and and we it was funded. We put it up, and it
Wow.
got funded in about 3 weeks. And it was
Wow.
it was two people that had donated. It was Mr. Sweeper, and it was another gentleman by the
Wow.
name of Mark. And Mark was he was like a mentor early on to me in high school, and he came in,
Mm.
he funded the project, he allowed us to be ourselves, and man, it was I can't even describe just the feeling back then, like just being able to see like that was the first time like being an artist that wanted to do something and had a
Yeah.
vision
Yeah.
and I seen it like come into
Come to
fruition.
fruition.
Just we had to set up, we had to be real professional. We all had to do interviews. We shot like a mini documentary. Like that's how like I guess
Yeah.
it drew his attention. So
Yeah.
just seeing all that hard work paying off at 16, 17, it did something to our spirit, especially mine at the
Mm.
time. Cause I'm not from the greatest of neighborhoods. So
Yeah.
that was like that light in the dark finally to where it was like, oh man, I don't have to like hurt somebody to like get something.
Yeah.
I can just be myself and express myself and get something good for that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
I don't have to be something I'm not to get people to accept me or I don't have
Yeah.
to so it felt good. Hip hop was like that escape for me in a lot of ways. So
Mm.
seeing that project get that success like changed my life drastically because
Wow.
a lot of the people in my life at that time were going down like a dark path. And you get to that age, 16, 17, and being especially a kid of color in the inner
Yeah.
city, is like that pressure starts falling on top
For
of you in
sure.
all different facets of life. So like I was feeling that pressure, and then it's like by the grace of God, hip hop like kind of was like, come here, we like you, we need you to, you're more than this. We don't want you over here. It's gonna take a while, but we want you over here. So fast forward, we finally meet Mark and stuff. We get on the phone. He funds our project. I actually show you it.
Word. I'm. Yeah. This is dope.
he funds this project that we dropped called it's a very controversial title.
KKK. I don't
Yes,
know,
it's a
bro. Damn.
yes, it's a very controversial title. Yes.
I
We
don't
got a
know.
lot
Okay.
of flack for this.
Yeah,
Like
I don't
on
know, bro.
websites and stuff and
Okay.
on blogs. Hear me out though.
Uh-huh.
Our group was called Collective.
Mm.
So when we had was creating the project, we took the spin on it and it was called Calm, Cool, and Collective.
Mm.
We just called it KKK to just kind of like draw people in, and it was also in a way like embodying a name that had so much negative, like weird connotations on it, and just flipping it.
Yeah.
It wasn't no like it wasn't us paying them any homage. It wasn't us like giving it any power in a sense for what the word, you know what I'm saying, deprives from it, what it's done to us as a people. We weren't giving it that power at all in a sense. We were flipping it our
Mm.
own way. Like, look, we calm, we cool, and we collective. We a group of black kids.
Yeah.
We just knew that name was gonna like get people to
Get
draw
people
in. At that
reactions.
time, I Future, Tyler the Creator,
Yeah.
Wolf, Little B. It's just it
Yeah.
was the times at the time. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and Ninth Wonder, shout out to Ninth Wonder.
Hey,
I
Ninth
can I
Wonder,
can
love that
break
guy.
that connection down.
Yeah.
Well, he actually shouted us out with
Wow.
that tape. Yeah, he shouted us out. We
He's
got
from
in a
North
blog.
Carolina too, right? Yeah.
He got a. We were on a blog by Noisy. I don't know if you remember Noisy article back in
Yeah,
the
I'm
day.
familiar. Yeah.
Vice and
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, they
Yep.
had wrote an article on the top 10 artists to look out for in North Carolina, like for the future. And this was
Hey.
like 2015, 2016, like right at the like peak of the blog era.
Yeah.
So like we were in that article with like Rhapsody, King Miz, like
Hey.
some real like respected North Carolina artists on the come up.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a
Yeah.
big look for us. Like we had
Yeah.
got like 5,000 like downloads on our mixtape that day when they had put that up. Like it was a lot of crazy stuff
Wow.
going on. We were like, oh snap.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, yo, shout out to the North Carolina rappers. We got J.
Yeah.
Cole. We got Rhapsody. We got
Mm-hmm.
Murray. We got Uhhmariii. Yeah, yeah, you guys, you got yo, and then
Lou,
Ninth Wonder, man. Shout out to him,
Little
man. That
Brother.
guy's he's an underrated legend, bro. But
Mm-hmm.
he be producing, man. He really be
Yeah,
producing.
some of the
Yeah,
best beats of all time, in my opinion. I
yeah,
think he captures like what a soul beat in hip
yeah.
hop is
He be
at
yeah,
a level that like if somebody was like, "What's a soul beat? What does that mean?" Just
yeah,
playing some Knife Wonder, it's gonna speak to you. He makes
yeah,
beats that you don't even necessarily have to like rhyme on. They tell a story itself. Hence why he does the Zion series, the Zion beat tapes that he puts out
yeah.
on streaming platforms.
Yeah, now shout out to him, and yo, you got like a pretty cool like rap story. I didn't know that about you or that background,
Yeah,
man.
I was gonna I'll close in on how I got homeless from that
Yeah,
for you. But so yeah, pretty much after we do the tape and everything, we graduate high school and we start making trips because there's little small independent labels that want to meet with us. It's little situations that's starting to happen from this. This is why I never went to college at the time because when I
mm,
graduate high school, like it's money being offered and opportunities being
you
given to me.
popping.
So
Yeah,
right. So I'm trying to like capitalize off that.
yeah,
So at the time we traveling, we go to New York, we in Tennessee, and certain things is going, and certain members of the group, I get into that on the song on the album, but certain members of the group, they were kind of like they were stuck between that rock and the hard place of like my family wants me to get my education, which I have
yeah,
no issue with. And then it's like, but I want to do this. And how can I
yeah,
keep both of them happy when in reality you can't do that in a sense, like at
yeah,
least not when you know there's moments where you can take this to the next level. When it's still a hobby, yes, you can still you treat it as a hobby until you can put it to the forefront and
for
take care
sure.
of. But so I had some friends that kind of was like on the fence with it, and it was waste a lot of money wasted, and come to find out certain money that was supposed to be in music was getting spent for their college stuff, and it got real straight out of Compton, nasty. You know how it goes when it comes to
Yeah.
business. Once you miss business with friends, and
Yep.
and
Oh,
it
I've
gets real
learned, man. Yeah.
egos get involved, and
Yep.
so then next I
Especially with
come
men. Mm,
right. Oh man, talk about
mm.
it. So I come back to North Carolina. Everybody else, all my friends in college, I'm back at the house, and my family loses their house, you know what I'm saying? And we all get spread it out. So for the next few years, I'm just kind of bouncing around with certain homies and friend to friend,
Yeah,
crib to crib that just let me stay. Girls, you know,
yeah.
I'm
You're
nomading it.
trying to make it, man.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to make it. And then over time, I fell out of love with the music. You know what I'm saying? Just because
Mm,
like I saw the big leagues, and then it just it didn't work
yeah,
itself out. So
yeah.
like at the time, I was always writing. It's just I was more on some, man. I just write kind of the vent.
Yeah, just
Hence where the
whatever.
vent sessions eventually started. That's
Yeah,
what I was calling it at the time. Like, man, these ain't raps no more. These vents.
just venting. Yeah,
Yep. I was like, I'm just venting. I don't really. So
yeah.
I get me a job, you know, and start doing my thing a little bit. And I meet my homeboy Steven, who goes by Arkham, and he actually has a few songs that we have together that will come out over time. He just reaches out. I knew him since like fifth grade when I first moved down here, when I
Mm,
first moved to North Carolina. So reconnecting with him at that time, man, was like I needed that because it's just like I was in a dark
mm.
space, and I was just so getting somebody that like from my childhood that kind of understood me in that
You
state when
needed
I was
that.
most happy. Yeah, so I just started hanging out with him, and they had a jam session in the living room. They had drums set up, guitar. He's a guitarist, and I was just watching them jam out. And over time, I just kind of fell back in love with it, watching them just
Mm,
have fun. Like they're just in the living room, they're jamming out. I'm
yeah,
just sitting there, just watching them on the couch, just like I'm playing PUBG
yeah,
Mobile
yeah,
on the
yeah, yeah.
phone, just watching them. Like, yo, this shit is amazing. Like, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
And then fucking, he gets a mic. He buys a mic. So then he didn't know how to use it. So I'm like, fuck. They looking at me like, man, we know you used to learn it, like learn how to. So I'm like, fuck it. So I go on YouTube. I learn how to use the mic, and eventually we start recording. And now we start recording all these songs, and then I'm just like, I'm gonna record a song. So I record a song, and that song actually ends up being Code Energy.
Mm,
It was a record I put out in 2019. I
okay.
recorded a record called Cold Energy. And at that point, I fell back in love with hip hop. But at the time, I'm still bouncing around. So I'm like, fuck. So how am I gonna like be able to support myself while being able to obtain this goal and dream? So
Mm,
one day I'm going to work. I'm working at Home Depot at the time,
okay.
and I had turned back to God. Like I had refound my faith, and I'm praying
Awesome,
a
man.
lot. I'm reading scripture. I'm just watching, like, I'm
Awesome, man.
reading books on just like a lot of things we went through as black people. I
Yeah,
reconnected just watching Marcus Garvey, and I reread Malcolm X's autobiography. Just I was doing a lot of spiritual learning at that
yeah,
time.
for
And at
sure.
the time I wasn't posting and stuff, so it was just like, and one day I'm going to work, and this guy's in a BMW. I'm like, I'm getting picked up in like a BMW. It's Uber, mind you. So I'm like,
Hmm.
okay. I get in the BMW, we driving. He looks in the rearview window. He's like, hey man, what you do for work? And I go, man, I'm working at Home Depot. That's where I'm going right now. He was like, word. He said, how old are you? And at the time I was 23. I said, I'm 23. He goes, man, if I give you a number, would you promise to call that number? He said, I promise you it'll change your life. He said, you ever thought about driving trucks? And I was like, yeah, I actually thought about that like a few times. And it's funny because I used to tell my homies like, man, if I don't do what I gotta do making music, I'm gonna just go be a truck driver. And it's
Mm,
funny how that worked out. God was like,
mm.
nah, I'm gonna make you a truck driver just to help you fund and do what you need to do. It's not your
Yeah.
plan B.
Yes,
So
sir.
so he gave me the number. He told me to call the lady, and she can get me on an apprenticeship. And I called it immediately, and from that day
Yes,
forward,
sir.
everything changed from me having to bounce around. And then, like I said, shout out to Steven because he helped me refine like my love for just music. Because at the time when I was just in the dark, and I was like, man, like I had lost the love for it because, like I said, I had seen that light. It was like
Yeah,
I was about to get to the point to where like, man, we're traveling, we're doing this and that, and it got snatched from me. So
yeah.
like once the business was messed up, the love for it fell out,
Yes,
and I
sir.
had to refine the love. and learn to not care about the business no more.
Yes,
Kind
sir.
of
Man.
and not say not care about it in the sense of like, man, forget it, but more in the sense of not value it over
It's not your
relationship.
number one priority. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So just bouncing from that and making that bounce back from just having that opportunity in front of you, and then
Yeah.
just like learning that, like, man, music is more than just like trying to make some money,
Yeah.
or trying to like get a chase a hit record or something like that. And that a lot of that was in the way growing up.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that I'm kind of glad I went through what I went through, because it humbled me,
Of
pulled
course,
me, it
boss.
stripped my ego. So I don't look at my homelessness
No, man.
as a,
God,
you know what I'm saying, like a
God,
strike on me. That's why I felt I needed to share that with the people.
well, first of all, class up to you. That was incredible storytelling, bro. Oh, that
Yeah,
you were a great
sometimes I was
storyteller,
trying to
bro.
sneak
Like
it
you,
all in
yeah,
without.
bro. That storytelling, bro. Yo, man, we need to hear that more in your raps. That was a great story, bro. First of all,
Appreciate
hats off
that.
to you. Second of all, man, there was just so many thoughts running up my mind as you're speaking. First thing I
Mm-hmm.
thought of, man, is God doesn't give you everything you want. He gives you everything you need, bro. And
Mm.
everything you went through, bro, was exactly what you needed to be the man you are today, man. So
Yep.
I felt that, man. And then I also want to say shout out to your friend, your childhood friend who reminded you of your love for hip hop, man.
Yeah.
I think that's an underrated part about friendship, bro, that I feel like a lot of people don't talk about. But the friends I still have today, the reason I love them so much is they remind me of who I am, including my family
Mm-hmm.
too. Like I feel like as you get older, bro, it can get so easy to get lost in the world, man. But
So
chasing
easy.
money, bro, chasing business, chasing
Mm-hmm.
hoes, even that,
Yeah.
you can just get lost, bro. You can get
Yeah,
lost doing
man.
all this, bro. Like
Your
you really can,
job, just,
man.
yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah,
Bills.
man. And when you're with that friend knows you when you ain't shit and you're just a kid,
Mm-hmm.
and you're happy, that's a whole different thing, man. Like that, I
Absolutely.
think it's priceless, man. And
Priceless.
I think we need that. I think we all need that. I think it's an underrated value that I hope more people can appreciate in friendships. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, bro, yeah, I swear I loved your story, bro. It almost gave me like J. Cole, like last call, or like or yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying, bro. One thing, bro, your story as you were speaking, it reminded me of Big Sean's story and J. Cole's story, like combined. Like
Right.
I don't know if you're familiar with their stories, but
A little bit, yeah.
yeah, but
Somewhat.
Big Sean, bro. Big Sean, the thing that was interesting about Big Sean is similar to you, bro. Like he had the choice of going to college, and he's a very smart guy, but he chose not to. And for
Yeah.
like 2 years, bro, he's basically been like trying to make it, and kind of like how you had an interaction with Ninth Wonder, or you kind of had a shout out from Ninth Wonder. He met with Kanye, and
Right.
Kanye promised him something like, "Yo, I got you," but like he rapped for Kanye. He's like,
Mm-hmm.
"Okay, I made it," but then like he didn't hear from that dude from like 2 years, and then he's
Right.
kind of going into his own like depression, and just different things that makes him kind of have to reconnect with himself and understand what it really matters to him. you know
Absolutely.
yeah, so and then J. Cole, you just being from North Carolina and whatnot, I was like,
Yeah.
it's just interesting, man. But I love your story, man. Thanks for sharing it.
Appreciate that. Absolutely.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
kind of like what started the new platform in a sense, during that process when I got reconnected back with Steven, I was like, man, it's time for a change. And I made the new page, and that's when I started putting out the vent sessions where I was doing all the
Mm,
freestyles. And over time, I started noticing that I was getting a lot of new like people that was supporting, and that's when I had learned the whole concept of it's not gonna be people that you know that kind of like support you and show that love. You got to be open to meeting new people.
yeah.
And I kind of left that whole bubble of just the anger of being betrayed by not being able to
Mm,
get where I was trying to go. I let my guard down again finally, and
yeah.
that allowed me to meet people like you and other supporters. And now we have a whole new platform of just people that are strictly here for like the honest me, not
Yeah.
the fake version of me on my
Yeah.
whole Instagram. So
Yeah.
that was the
Yeah.
beauty of all that in a sense.
Yeah,
Just
man.
put it
Well,
all full circle for you.
yeah, no, yeah, you did that wonderfully, bro. And I'm glad that you're now in a space where you feel like you can be yourself, man. Because I feel like that's that's one of the greatest gifts you can have, just being yourself. Because I feel like when people aren't being themselves, that's when depression starts. That's when a lack of
Mm-hmm.
clarity starts, and that's where just all the BS happens, man. And
Absolutely.
and you're also, in my opinion, you're straying away from God because you're not being yourself or
Yep.
being how God created you to be. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's what it is, man. So, man, I love your story. I think it's a very like classic hip hop story, man, and I'm excited to see how you continue to build it, man. So, next thing I wanted to ask you about, bro, is like I feel like one of the hardest things about honestly just life, but I know in rapping is just consistency, man. Like, and I feel like that's the key to success with anything, just me consistently podcasting. I'm on my 55th episode and I'm not trying to
Oh
slow down.
wow!
I want to be
Congratulations.
consistent. And I don't really care like we talk about, oh, am I making money? Am I getting thousands of views? No, I don't
Right.
care, man. But I want to look at myself, and if I can get to 1,000 episodes, be so proud of that. And I'll be damned if I don't do 1,000 episodes and nothing changes. Like I must be really trash, but I don't think we'll see, man. But you know what I'm saying? And that's kind of how I try to look at this whole creative process. And and for you, what has the journey of consistency been like? Because I feel like for rappers, that's such a important part of success, but it's also I recognize how difficult it can be.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, kind of like I think one thing I've learned about consistency is one is you got to have a plan. So
Mm,
in order to be consistent, you have to plan out how you're going to be consistent. So I think
mm,
sometimes people want to be consistent, they just don't have the proper plan that fits
mm.
their lifestyle and like their style of just what they're trying to do and accomplish with their music. So I think that's kind of like one thing I had to learn with myself. So I had to
Mm.
learn to get better at planning in
Okay.
order to be consistent. And two, I think in order to be consistent, you kind of have to like you have to love the process of wanting to be consistent. And I think that's the hardest part for a lot of us because we get
Yeah.
caught up in trying to, artists are real like we're real precise when it comes to our art. We're our hardest critic. So
Yeah.
we'll sit there with a record or a piece of content and
Yeah.
judge it for days, weeks, and
Yeah.
whole time it's 50 people that would have loved it had you just put it out.
Yeah.
They don't care about that small little detail that's bothering you so much. So I
Yeah.
think those two things kind of definitely when it comes to consistency, if you want the artist's POV from that standpoint, I think sometimes it's just artists want to be consistent. Of course, we want people to see what we do and be able to appreciate what we do. But I think sometimes the idea of consistency scares a lot of artists
Mm.
because you have to hold yourself accountable and you have to put yourself in an uncomfortable position in order to be consistent.
Mm.
So that's where like the catch 22 with just like an artist trying to be consistent but still keep I guess that level of whatever art he's trying to convey on the social media platforms. So for me, I had to learn to just like I said, I had to fall in love with just the process of shooting content, the
Mm.
process of getting a bunch of clips, editing them, looking at them and going, ooh, I can't wait till I put this out Monday and this Tuesday and this Wednesday. Just
Yeah.
kind of like you have to rewire your brain, like in order to kind of like battle that hill of consistency because artists like,
Mm.
when you're an artist, you got to deal with a lot of different things anyway. So
Yeah.
it's juggling. I'm just, I've learned
Juggling.
to embrace the battle of juggling.
Yeah, yeah. And also is just the art of developing your craft, man, and
Right.
developing your pen, man. My favorite rapper is Kendrick Lamar, man. And I just
Mm-hmm.
love how much he's dedicated to his craft, bro. And I think he did that in GNX. There's a track called Gloria, where I don't know if you're familiar, but it's pretty much like a
Yeah.
whole metaphor where he talks about his pen and his bit.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like an allegory. You think he's cheating on his girl, but the whole time
Right.
he's talking about his pen. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
yo, I thought that was dope, man. But it's
Oh
very
yeah, that's a real thing.
thought provoking and creative. And I feel like my favorite rappers are the ones who are just consistently like honing that pen, bro. Like, and it kind of
Mm-hmm.
makes me just want to be consistent with podcasting. Maybe I have to be better at projecting my voice. Maybe I have to be better at, like, speaking up my truth. Like, but I love how they do it. Like, J. Cole has a track called Port Antonio. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
Yeah.
But man, I even eat like I could feel it, bro. I could feel it, like him, like just
Hmm.
working, trying to be better. And it sounds like you're in that process of
Oh
self
yeah,
development.
I'm very obsessive over my pen. I think
Yeah,
that was because, like I said, when it comes to artist consistency, that thing that's holding them is gonna
yeah,
be different for every artist. And
yeah.
crazy enough, that's that thing for me. Like, I'm the type to
Mm.
obsess over my pen and obsess over trying to be a better artist that I'll look back and it's 4 months and I haven't said nothing to nobody.
Oh no.
But the whole time I'm in the hyperbolic chamber like
Yeah.
Vegeta in Trunks, just obsessing
I
over
love
my
that
craft. And it's
hyperbolic
like,
spread.
shit, man, I didn't realize 4 months went by. But
Yeah, bro.
so
Yeah,
that
yeah,
it's that balance of learning how to like let the people in, like seeing the process, like, hey guys, what do you think about this?
yeah.
And
Yeah.
start showing snippets more. I want to start recording more content. I have a separate room now for a
Mm.
studio finally in my
Nice.
own house. So I'm able to like be able to start doing more lifestyle content and letting the community in more on just my creative process. So that's something I look forward to being able to do more this year while putting out music and content that people can enjoy and be inspired by. So
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
just having that balance as an artist of just getting better at your craft,
yes,
but
sir.
understanding that you got to get people to see what you do too.
Yes, sir. It's 2025 and it's time to lock in, and we gotta get into that hyperbolic time chamber, bro,
Hyperbolic
and
time
lock in,
chamber.
bro. I love that word, bro. I like the Goku and the yeah. It's true, bro. We
For
especially as
real.
men, man, we really need to lock in and become the best versions of ourselves. And I love how you put that, man. As I'm hearing you speak, bro, you talk about consistency, faith, and perseverance. Um, where do you hope to be in the future, or is there a goal with all of this, or what for you is like the goal for you with doing all of this?
I would say the goal ultimately is to get to a space to where the art can be appreciated at a level to where I can do it full time.
Mm,
There's no dollar amount on that for me. You know what
okay.
I'm saying? So pretty much I just want to be able to get to the space to where me doing this and my art is something that I can touch people every day with without any other distractions. I'm
Mm,
still at a point in my life to where I have, like distractions that keep me like
yeah.
blessed and able to pay my bills
Yeah.
and you know what I'm saying? I'm thankful and I'll keep
Sure.
doing that and I don't have no problem ever going back to that. So
Yeah. Of
but I
course,
know
man.
that in order to, be that creative and to push my art to the level it needs to be, I have to get to that space to where I'm able to travel and do things
Yeah.
and be able to do different things that requires me to not be on the clock. So
Yeah.
my goal ultimately, I say I just want to be like I want to be an artist, man. I want to
Yeah.
be an artist
Full
that
time artist.
a full time artist, like and there's no dollar amount on that, like at
Yeah.
all. Like I kind of changed my goal. My goal used to be, of course, when you're younger and you looking at
You want to be
music,
that nigga,
you
bro.
want to be Jay-Z,
Yeah.
Kanye,
You want to be that
Drake.
nigga.
You
Yeah.
want to be the top dude. Like I don't
Yeah.
know if you want to be Drake now, but Kendrick,
no,
you
no,
want to
no,
be
Drake.
the
No,
no, you don't want to be him right now. But you
no.
want to be, Eminem, the top
Yeah.
guys, like the guys
Yeah.
that did this at the highest level. But I'm at that age now to where like I'm content with just getting to a space to where, hey man, if 200-300 people will show up in a building to hear me rap and listen to what I got to say in a small intimate area one day, that's a blessing for me. Like
Oh yeah,
I don't
man.
have to be in an arena no more.
For
Anything
sure.
like that is a bonus.
Yeah.
But I just want my music to touch as many people as possible. I want to touch a million lives just with my frequency because I
It's
know music
possible.
is a
Yeah.
powerful frequency.
For
You know what I'm
sure.
saying? So I
For
just if I can
sure.
just touch a million souls before I leave the planet, that's a blessing for me.
For sure, man. And if you ever did some type of concert or show in Atlanta, bro, I'm definitely pulling up, bro. I
Yeah,
love
I
your
appreciate
energy.
that.
I yeah, and man, music is is a powerful healer, bro. I've listened to your tracks, and believe it or not, man, like they really have helped me, bro. Like I know there's a track you did called Third Eye Pain, and I
Oh
fuck with
yeah,
that
that's an
track.
early one.
I've listened to, I really do listen to your music, bro. They come up on my shuffle, and it just helps me go through my day. You know what music does for yourself,
Oh
bro.
yeah,
Just the
absolutely.
same thing for me. Just kind of helps me go through my day, keep me sane, because
Mm-hmm.
life can get real crazy and whatnot, man.
Crazy.
So
Oh yeah.
I appreciate you for just creating music for me to keep pushing myself and staying consistent, man. And shout out to your trucking job, man. I understand that you do want to be a full-time artist, and I hope you do get there one day. But I do feel like nowadays, like I think our jobs can be a weird blessing in disguise because it can
Oh
give us
yeah.
the funding to do everything that we
Yep.
truly want to do. And I think as men, sometimes we can have an ego about having a job, like, oh man, like I have a
Mm-hmm.
job. I'm working for this guy, or I'm working for the white man. Like, and I don't get me wrong, I have my moments where I'm like, yo, fuck this nigga, this
Not
boss.
for real.
Like, you know what I'm saying? It happens, but
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's also a blessing because it gives you it gives you the money to do everything you want. Like for me,
That you want, right?
I'm a pharmacist, and I make good money. It's not my passion, but it allows me to do this podcast. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? And I know, and
Mm-hmm.
so that little stuff like that, I don't take for granted. And I think we need more of that and more of that type of appreciation. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I had to learn that, man. I'm glad that you mentioned that because that was the ego
Yeah.
killer and thing that I had to learn and learn how to manage because to the
Yeah.
point where now I'm able to like I had to tell my brothers that I have two younger brothers. So I'm like, look,
Mm.
man, like if there's anything you can learn from my journey, learn to fund your own dreams,
Yeah.
man. That's
Yeah.
I tell them that I said if there's anything you know from your big brother's story, fund your
Yeah.
own dreams
Yeah, man.
because
And
that's the only way you're gonna not fall out of love with it. Because
yeah,
if you allow anybody else to dictate where your dream is going, oh man, it can go anywhere.
a man who stands for nothing will fall for anything, bro. It's
There
that
you
simple, bro.
go.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
So if you
simple.
don't know what you want, bro, people are gonna tell
Exactly.
you what to
They're
do,
gonna
and
tell you
you're
what
gonna
you.
just
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna be a slave to whatever their agenda is, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
You're not
So
lying, bro.
I mean, yeah, man. So I love your story, man. And I think when we talk about that whole job perspective, I also think it requires removing a lot of your ego and really
Mm-hmm.
just choosing. It's less about being right and just following your dreams, like you know what I'm saying,
Exactly.
and whatnot. So I'm glad you
Learning to
got
fall in love
that.
with the process.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
man, yeah, man. So, I mean, so with that being said, Umari, I know you're also you're pushing and you're continuing to self develop, and I know you have an upcoming project too, which is why you had this podcast scheduled at this particular time. Which I'm cool. Well, you want to talk about that? Can you talk about that project
Yeah.
and what's that? What's that like?
So the Divine Light EP
Yeah.
is dropping March 9th. That'll be
March
the
9th.
second Sunday of March.
Okay.
And it's an EP. It's a compilation of songs that I compiled together that pretty much are a testament to where I was and where I'm going and where I've been in the last few years
Mm-hmm.
since my last project, which was called Vent Sessions Volume One, that came out 2021. So it's
Yeah.
been almost three. It's been 4 years now almost since
Wow.
I put out a project, and it's
Wow.
just divine light, pretty much kind of like what we've been speaking about all
Yeah.
this podcast. So in terms of just like chasing that light and not letting the darkness kind of like take you over, and understanding that you can use the dark as a blank canvas to paint where you're going to get back to your
Oh, I
light.
like that.
So that
Mm.
canvas is blank. Yeah, it's dark, but think about it. That dark is what you make it. When you looking at it and you close your eyes, you can imagine whatever you're seeing. So I
Yeah.
use the dark as a canvas, and I learned to
Mm.
find my light through
I
that
like
canvas.
that.
So that's pretty much what the divine light is a testament to,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the first project under my imprint, Free Mood. You know what I'm saying? That
Okay.
I built under my LLC. It's my independent label that I signed myself under. And I'm still, I'm still learning like the benefits and the things I can do
With
having an
independent.
LLC. But I've been definitely excited knowing that I have my own career, my own hands now.
Mm-hmm.
So just, so I'm excited about this EP in that aspect. It's 6, 7 songs. It's seven
Okay.
songs. It's not they're short songs, so it's real good to the point, and it was supposed to be an album, and
Okay.
I'll give you the exclusive, but it's two
Okay.
parts to it. It's
Okay.
two
Okay.
parts to it. So the
Yes,
part
sir.
one is gonna come out March 9th, and then part two will probably be out 2 months probably after. I'll give people time to live with it and enjoy it, and I want to do some cool things with like vinyl and like CDs and just give them to people. I'm not looking for any money or nothing. I
Mhm.
just want to send them out to people and just get people physical things that bring and build those memories. Like I said earlier, of just I want to build memories with my music now. Like how I have
Mm.
memories with people of just like I remember my first time in Atlanta and I texted you and I was
Yeah.
just like, yeah, man, I'm down here, man. We got to
Yeah.
catch up
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
some point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Little
Yeah.
stuff like that. I want to like learn how to do that with my music now, because I'm not
Okay.
trying to chase streaming numbers. I want to be able to build moments to where like a homie of mine is like, bro, I remember when Mari sent me the CD, June of the summer of 2025,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
3 years later he's about to do a show here now.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
just want to have those moments and learn
Yeah.
to start building those moments with my
For
community.
sure, bro.
So I'm gonna
Bro,
use this EP to do that for sure.
and you know what's crazy, bro? I can see us 3, 4 years from now. I'll be like, yo, I remember we were doing this podcast, and now
Mm-hmm.
my niggas out here doing shows in Atlanta, bro. And I'm out there too. And
Right, you
it's
out
like, yo,
there,
and then
right?
we might go backstage. I'm just talking
Of
to you about,
course.
yo, crazy how things, because I feel like that's what life is
Mm-hmm.
about. It's like recognizing your
Absolutely.
growth and seeing how much you
Mm-hmm.
and then ultimately looking at your younger self and being like, oh, would he be proud of what I'm doing today?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah,
Man, for sure.
yeah.
And like, yeah, it's just a compilation of songs, just showing where I'm going, a testament to where been, and I'm excited to share it with the people. My influences are definitely on there. Like, I have my influences. I've been listening to a lot of Little Brother lately. They're a group that,
Oh, with
yeah, with
Pooh and
Knife
them.
Wonder, Big Pooh and them. Yeah,
Yeah,
man, I
Pooh,
love
yeah,
Little Brother. So I just been
yeah.
studying them a lot lately
Okay,
and watching their story. I just watched their documentary yesterday,
okay,
and
okay.
so I'm just just soaking in the
Being a student
Carolina
at the game.
Underground legends, soaking in
Mm.
that game and learning from their story and how I can apply the things that they went through to just where I'm trying to go.
Yeah,
So I'm just excited about
I'm,
what 2025 has for me.
I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this. Like, I want to talk to you about the state of hip hop, like, and
Okay.
and what you think it is in, man, because hip hop is constantly growing, And
Mm-hmm.
one thing about hip hop, I mean, I love hip hop, man. Like, I've you know me, man. I used to blog about it all the time,
Yep.
and I feel like hip hop goes through different trends. Like in the 90s, it was like gangster rap. Then the 2000s is like it was kind of like street rap, and then we got Kanye who and Wale and J. Cole kind of become like a lyrical conscious
Yep.
thing. Then
Backpack. Yep.
backpack. Then we started transitioning to the little yardies of the words, doing the
Mm-hmm.
mumble rap, kind of Kodak Black,
SoundCloud rap. Yep.
SoundCloud, and then it kind of transitioned back to like street rap with like Little Baby and Kodak. I mean, like Little Baby was that dude, and then it's kind of went to female rap, and it's just kind of like
Yeah.
going all over the place. And now I feel like I don't know, maybe it's just me. I don't feel like hip hop has like a trend or like a firm identity. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I'm trying to figure out what
Nah, I get what
what
you're
we're in.
saying.
You know what I'm saying? Like
I
are
think
we doing? Yeah.
I think hip hop is finally at a place to now where the genre has been, even though it's a young genre, the genre has still been around long enough for us to finally have subgenres in hip hop. So
Yeah.
I think hip hop is finally at that space to where it's not one shoe fits all anymore. To where like you have something for everybody in some sort of facet. I just think we have to learn how to like balance all of it and make sure that each side of hip hop is getting its proper like shine and due. But
Yeah.
in terms of just where it's at today, sonically, I think it's at the best place it's ever been from a
Mm,
sonic
mm,
standpoint because we
mm.
you can find anything you want right now. Like
Yeah, that's
it's
so
a
true.
it's just harder to understand and figure out what dictates where we're going. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Compared to
Yeah.
different previous generations. And so that's just the difference. I think the internet made hip hop more in a sense to where like we're all listening to it, but
Yeah.
every phone gonna have something different coming out of
Yeah.
it. It's not
Yeah.
like back in the day where they all were listening to Run DMC or
Yeah.
everybody was listening to Hey Mama by Tupac,
Yeah.
or it's just like, so it's just different things. And hip hop
Yeah.
is constantly growing, man. Like,
Yeah.
I personally, I like it.
Yeah.
I just, like I said, I just want us to get to the point to where, like, we understand that there's different genres, so let's kind of put them in their
To their
places
own place.
without overstepping on what the forefathers did and those before. It's kind of like the NBA in a sense. Like, I had made this little note where I was talking to my friend, like, a lot of guys are shooting threes now in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, man, in like 10 years, you're gonna have role players with more shots threes than Ray Allen, who's like a top three-point shooter of all
Facts.
time with
That's
Steph
a
and
fact.
Clay.
That's
So
that's
it's
that's so
like,
true,
what
man.
do we do?
Yeah.
Like, how
What?
do we like kind of like keep that balance and understand,
Yeah.
like,
That's a fact.
let's keep the history what it is. Let's not
Mm.
overstep with things like that. And that's more in the, like I say, the toxic media spaces of hip hop. I don't think
Mm.
like purists and like real hip hop people like subscribe to the whole, like, just disrespecting the legends and all
Yeah.
that thing. I think that's more, but still, like, just making sure that we honor the inception of what hip hop is, because I do think a lot of newer fans kind of like forget like what hip hop is technically, in a
Mm.
sense, because they see like a lot of the visual things, the cars,
Mm-hmm.
the girls, the diamonds and stuff. But hip hop was originally, it was a political movement that gave inner city black people and Latino people a voice to speak themselves in a, you know what I'm saying, in a creative
Mm-hmm.
way without, in a sense, harming anybody or causing an uproar. We did it with our music. We did it with dancing, graffiti around the cities. Hip hop isn't just like rapping. You know what I'm saying? Like, rap is just rapping. Hip hop is to be hip. The hop is the movement. So it's like, it's
Mm.
a breakdown, it's a science. To be hip is the move, boogie, to be able to, you know what I'm saying, understand what's going on, speak the code, know what's going
Yeah.
on in the cities, know what we rocking, know what's fresh, know what we doing. To hop is the movement, be a part, you know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Get down, boogie with us. So I think a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people kind of just forget that. And shout out to
Yeah.
KRS-One, because that's
Oh
KRS-One's
yeah, that sounds
teachings.
like something he would teach.
Yeah, that's KRS-One's teachings. I'm not about to,
Yeah,
but
that's dope though. Yeah.
yeah, so it's just, understanding those, that hip hop is an art form, and it's not just, it's a lifestyle in a sense. You can't just, it's not one shoe
Mm.
fits all. So I like where it's at, because there's certain things like that everybody's doing that embodies hip hop.
Yeah.
It's just, you know it's,
Yeah.
it's a lot of different music now. That's the only difference.
I love your perspective on it, boss, because I feel like, sometimes you hear some people state, "Oh, there's no good music," or like hip hop is dying or whatnot. And I'm like, nigga, you're just not listening, or you're
Yeah,
not
you're not
choosing to
listening.
find these people.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can go on and on. There's Coda the Friend, there's YBN
Mm-hmm.
Corday, there's Tyler the Creator, there's Freddie Gibbs, there's
Yep.
Kendrick Lamar, there's
Griselda,
The Game,
Kendrick.
Griselda, Umari, Miles Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, like you can keep going on and on, but just
Yeah.
that's just hip hop in
Miles
itself.
Monday is tough.
You know what I'm saying? And I feel like people are just, if you're saying that, it's like, yeah, you just don't care enough to actually look and
Look, right.
and find it. You know what I'm saying? So even though there's more music than ever,
So I'm just
yeah,
glad to be a part of it and listen to it and breathe it every day, and
yeah.
so
Now you're definitely a great encapsulation of hip hop for sure. And back in the day, man, and like I know in the 2000s, like the only way to really make it was like there was gatekeepers, and you had to go on these like
mm-hmm.
radio shows, and pretty much like it felt like there was no other way, but like you had to get permission to be famous,
Right.
which doesn't. So now it's like there's no excuse, bro. You're either hot or not, because you got social
Right.
media and people. If your music is hot, bro, like people gonna fuck with you, bro. Like you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So yeah, like and now like we have independent rappers like you. And one of my favorite independent rappers is La Russell, man. You guys
Oh
have like a
man,
similar spirit. I love that dude,
love La
bro.
Russell.
Love
You
him,
actually
bro.
one of the first people that put me on to him. I remember when you
Mm.
were posting his clips like 2021,
Yeah,
early on your
yeah,
page,
yeah.
and I was like, "Yo, who is this dude?" And I
Yeah.
went and I listened to his freestyles, man. He had just put out the Soups and Crackers freestyle. And
Yeah.
I said, yeah, he
Sheesh.
got it. And then to see where he's at today, man, that shit makes me like, I had the biggest smile on my face for that dude. I ain't never even
Yeah.
met him. But it's
Yeah.
just, man, I'm so happy for him and where he's gotten because he
Bruh.
shows when you're relentless, you're consistent, and you believe in your vision more than anybody else, and you put that work in and you
Yeah.
build that brick, and he preaches that too. You
Facts.
build that brick
And
by
lives
brick
it.
every day, and he lives
Yeah.
it right.
Yeah.
He lives it. I'm so excited. I'm knocking my phone over, but he lives it for sure, man. Like I listen to him all the time, bro.
Same,
It's
bro.
funny because
Same.
if I was to turn my PlayStation on right now, his YouTube interview would pop up because that's
Yes,
all I
sir.
watch over here. Like when I'm
Yeah,
over
man.
here
Yeah.
working, I put on the Russell interviews, man.
Yes.
Nipsey
Oh, bro.
Hussle, the Russell interviews.
Yeah. Yep.
Like that's what
Man,
I'm
man.
on, bro.
Yep.
Like I love
Man,
what they stand for,
me
man.
too, man. Nipsey, man, and the marathon continues. Yo, there's yeah, and the beautiful thing about LaRusso too is like he's just a simple like just a regular black dude. Like, dude, I
Yeah.
love he puts on Crocs, puts on like
Mm-hmm.
sweatpants, and like just literally
Everyday person, bro.
bars out from his yard, bro. like
Mm-hmm. From
and
his
like it's like
yard,
it's super
bro.
relatable, bro. It's like all right,
Super relatable.
it's kind of shows us that like you really don't need much to be successful
Mm-hmm.
other than like the spirit of pursuing what you want, you know.
Yep.
Yeah, man. So I think he's laying in like a solid groundwork for independent rappers like you who can like model him and see
He
what they
is
can study
absolutely.
him.
He's trailblazing for the underground right now, and the independent artists for where they need to go and how they need to apply like his motto to what he does and what they need to do. Yeah, for sure. He's the blueprint.
Yeah,
Shout
yeah,
out to
no,
Lil Russell. He's definitely the blue. I study that man. Like,
yeah, no, for sure. And shout out to Nipsey. Rest in peace to him.
yeah, for
He's
sure.
also one of the
Cause
greats.
he's yeah, he's one of the trailblazers of
Yeah, for
everything
sure.
Lil Russell's doing. So
Yeah, yeah, man. So yeah, before we do end this podcast, I also wanted to get your thoughts, because I'm just curious on the Kendrick and Drake beef. You know, I just wanted. I'm curious, man. What were your thoughts when that happened? How did it make you feel? Like, you
oh
know,
man.
yeah,
When it originally happened, I was like, are they gonna really do this? But yeah, so when it initially happened, I was like, is this gonna happen? Because like
yeah,
they've been kind of like, playing and teasing at each other for a few years,
yeah,
and so when it first was going down, I was like, I don't know if they're gonna take it. I honestly didn't think Kendrick was gonna take the bait,
yeah.
but when the Like That record came out, I knew it was go time because of how he approached Cole about it. Like he included
Mm,
him, like, oh, word. And then I saw this little chess that Drake was playing with the whole getting Cole on first person shooter and all that. See, I'm a
yeah,
rap nerd, so I'm into that little stuff like that like the average person don't see. But that was a
yeah,
little chess move. It just backfired.
yeah,
But, so yeah, man, when it went down, I'm gonna tell you how I looked at it. I looked at it as commercial versus art.
yeah.
It was
Same,
it was it was the art versus
same.
the commercial machine,
Mm.
and the commercial machine lost.
Yes, sir.
Its pride got in the way. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It didn't take into the fact that you can't fake what art brings and the honesty and the rawness and like Kendrick said, man. I know they call you the boy, but where's the man? 'Cause I ain't seen him yet.
Mm.
Like when it comes to
Mm-hmm.
art, you gotta get your real self, which means you gotta
Yeah.
show your growth. I don't care about your Rolls Royce Cullinan and
Yeah.
all these fancy words that you. We don't care about that. I want to know where you at today. I want to know what it's like being a father. I want to know what it's like being
Mm-hmm.
on top of the world as Drake and accomplishing
Yeah.
everything. While. So I think Kendrick kind of exposed him in that aspect, and he kind of reminded everybody that like art presets everything and culture. You can't beat that. I don't care what machine. I don't care how many records you got sold. Like even Michael Jackson understood that, and he's the greatest musician damn near of all time to most
Mm-hmm.
people. He
Yeah.
understood the importance of just staying true to the art and honoring those that came before you and respecting just the foundation of it from just writing to the dancing to the choreography, like just all the things that Mike used to do. And I'm saying that because he compared himself to Michael Jackson a lot.
Yeah.
If if you look at Drake's career. So it's funny that he does that, but he didn't really peep that Michael Jackson's a student of the game. Like,
Yeah.
and what I mean by that is just he honored all things art, regardless of how big he got.
Yeah.
I think Drake lost that along the way, and Kendrick reminded him of it, and that's why he lost the battle in such dramatic fashion.
Yeah. I mean, I loved every second of the beef, especially
Love
being a Kendrick fan. I was so happy, and I'm gonna be honest. I never one thing as great as Drake is musically, I never really liked how he carried himself because I felt like he wasn't really true to himself. I felt like
right.
you would listen to a lot of his music, but you never really know who he was, bro. Like this guy is nearly a billionaire. This guy is a father, and he has so much going on in his life. But I feel like we never hear any of that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And whereas Kendrick is really for the culture,
Yeah.
and I think he does a great job of making music while just representing being himself. So I
Yeah.
loved it, bro. I
It was
loved
a
it, man.
win. Kendrick's win was a win for lyricists. It was a win for true artistry all around the board. It had more. It was a bigger play than people realize. So I'm glad he
Yeah.
win. It was a big win for just artists. Period. And stand for something.
And I love that, and I think Kendrick knew that too. Like I think he was very aware, like, that's why he may not like us. Like it's not just about like it's not just about him. Like he knows what this effect will have on the culture. So
Yeah.
I'm really glad he did that too, man.
Mm-hmm. Nah, for sure. I'm glad
Mm.
that was a big win.
Yeah,
Love
yeah,
it. Loved every
yeah,
moment of it. It was a great battle. The constant music and just they knew that these were different times, and that speaks to consistency. Like earlier, like
yeah,
Kendrick, man, and even Drake, like they both was
yeah.
pumping them out, man. To be that big of
Facts,
artists, like they was moving like independent underground artists. That
facts,
much music they was dropping.
facts. Yeah.
So I loved it,
Yeah.
man. Like,
Yeah, nah, it was a great moment for hip hop, man, and hopefully we get more hip hop moments in 2025.
right.
All right, boss. So it was honestly a great time speaking with you, man. I hope we definitely will chop it up more in the future.
For sure.
For people who would like to learn more about you, how can people connect?
They can connect with me on all social media platforms. That's at Uhhmariii, Uhhmariii. That's three I's. So Amari at all platforms. Anywhere you want to find me, you can find me in YouTube space, everywhere. I'm on there. I'm gonna start posting more on TikTok and Twitter
Mm,
more. So you can find me on there. You can DM me. I'm a humble person. I love to talk to people. I love to just talk life, hip hop, anything. You can reach out. I'll more than likely reach out. So yeah,
yeah.
like that's where you can
Yeah.
find me in those spaces.
Yo, and before we head out, because I'm curious. I know you got the lobster on your shirt. What made you into the lobsters? What made you name your brand like lobster? Because I know that's a part of your brand.
Yeah.
Yeah, where did
So
you get that?
the lobster, it's funny. It came from high school. So like
Yeah.
growing up, me and my friends had this little thing where every time like some bullshit would happen in a sense, we would call ourselves like names of something that like was known for always like having bad shit happen. So like one of my homeboys would go, "Man, I'm Meg Griffin, man. I'm just Meg Griffin today." Meg is notoriously known for getting shitted on Family Guy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then my other homeboy will go, "I'm Yamcha. I'm Yamcha. I'm Yamcha when he got blew up by the Cybermen."
Mm.
I don't know if you're familiar with Dragon Ball Z, but Yamcha is like a character on the show, but he's like one of the weaker people.
Yeah, he's
So,
trash. Yeah.
so
He's
so then
trash,
I
bro. Like,
started
yeah.
saying, "Man, I'm the Rock Lobster, man. I'm the Rock Lobster." They thought it was funny, and I was talking about from Family Guy originally,
Oh
episode.
yeah, oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh
Right.
man.
So originally it came from that. And then over time, like I just kept saying it, and over the years, I finally, once I got to my new platform, I just started putting up that emoji, and people gravitated to it. But on a spiritual level, I learned that the lobster had meant growth because what do
Mm.
lobsters do? They shed their shells all the time,
I didn't
and
know that.
they also live for a very long time. A lot of lobsters can't die. You have to kill a lobster.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Certain ones, and depending on the type of lobster you're talking about, you have to kill it for it to die. Like
Yeah.
it'll live. So just knowing that those like certain symbolisms like was attached to like a rock lobster and just lobsters in general, I just kept going with it. And then like people would send me pictures of like them in aquariums. They'll tag me. and put my name on it and be like, look, this is you, I found you. And then this one dude, he went to like a seafood restaurant and he had lobster in his hand and he took a picture and tagged me in it and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, so it was, just building that community in a sense,
Yeah.
and embracing what I used to use to talk down on myself. Now that I'm older, I would have told my 16, 17-year-old self and his friends that speak life into each other, stop speaking down on each other like that.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we were joking, that did take a toll on us in certain ways. Now that
Yeah.
I understand, so, but aside
Yeah.
from that, once again, I use a part of my story in the dark to paint my light and to wear it. So the rock lobster thing kind of just started from this, like I said, me feeling like when I used to down myself and shit, and to now I'm able to flip it and be like, well, I created a new shell. This is me. Welcome to my lobsters cub. I hope you all embrace me for who I am, and I love you, and I embrace you for the shell that you wear.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah, man, lobsters. I didn't know the background of that, but I know it's a big part of your brand, and I love it, man. And I like how it represents growth. Super dope. Well, y'all heard it from us. That's Uhhmariii. If you want to listen to his new EP, Divine Light, it comes out in March. And thank y'all for tapping in. And
Peace, brother.
remember, the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. Thank
There you go.
you.
Beautifully said.
If you enjoyed this conversation, feel free to write me a review on Apple or Spotify and subscribe for more content. I'm on a mission to inspire as many people as I can, and your reviews will help me reach a wider audience. Thank you.